Welcome to Whiskies, The Journey. My name is Peter Fasciano, and today is May 3rd, which means it is time for my first Friday flight fight. This month, the month of May, I'm doing Kilchoman. There's no sense of messing around, so let's jump into bottle number one. The 100% Islay Barley, or the 100% Islay. This is the 12th edition, or the release of 2022. This is coming in as the most expensive at $124.99, and I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, if you don't know. On the box, it says it's a minimum of 8 years old, and there's a combination of bourbon and sherry, so it looks like there's 29 bourbon barrels and 6 Oloroso barrels. It's lightly peated, and it's coming in at 50% ABV, and that will be in glass number one. Bottle number two, Machir Bay. This is matured in bourbon and sherry with the higher proportion of bourbon in the maturation process. Doesn't give me a minimum age, but it's coming in at 46% ABV, and I paid $84.99. And all of these Kilchomans are natural color, non-chill filtered, and that will be in glass number two. Moving on to bottle number three. We have the United States of America small batch. This is batch number 7, coming in at about $95. And what's special about this is Kilchoman is saying that they're doing special rare casks for each country's release. But it is $94.99, and it's coming in at 50% ABV. That will be in glass number 3. Moving on to bottle number 4. The Sanaig, just like the Machir Bay, it's matured in bourbon and sherry. But this one, we have the majority of the maturation done in sherry casks. 46% ABV, and it's coming in at about $92.99, and that's in glass number 4. The fifth and final bottle, the 2022 release of the Loch Gorm, and I do believe this is exclusively matured in sherry, and that will be in glass number 5. The Loch Gorm is coming in at about $100, and it's 46% ABV. Let me go ahead and clear this out and then mix up the glasses. All right, now I got a little elbow room. So if you are new to the channel and you're not familiar with this series, I basically take a specific distillery and look at different offerings within their lineup. I nose them, taste them, give you some notes, and then in the end, I rank them in the order in which I like the most. And that's just about it. So if you are new to the channel and you end up liking this information, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed already, give me a like, turn on that bell notification, because I produce videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Got my water over here, got my pad of paper here. So let's go ahead and jump into this. I'm gonna start on my left and go to the right. I'm gonna leave the lids on here just to get my nosing done, and then I'll take them off. But they are lightly peated. I just don't want to be overwhelmed by everything. So here we go with glass number 1. My oh my, is that a lot of vanilla. Tremendous amount of malt. There's a good amount of sweetness. I would say there's a lot of light fruits in here with a little bit of spice, a ginger spice. Peaches, pineapple, vanilla, and the peat note that I get is straight down the middle, campfire smoke. All right, let's go ahead and get this on the palate now that my notes are down. Boy, it smells amazing. Campfire smoke up in center, right up front. Vanilla, pineapple, peach, ginger, a little bit of a peppery note, lots of malt, and I would say definitely the majority of the notes that are coming through are the vanilla notes. First drink of the day, ABV is hitting me pretty good. Yeah, I like that one. I actually like Kilchoman. Do me a favor, let me know what you think of Kilchoman in the comments down below. You already know what I'm tasting because of the thumbnail, but I'd be curious to hear from you what expressions you like the most. Now let's get on to glass number 2. Much different than glass 1. I'd say sweet and savory. That savory note is coming through with the peat, and by no means is the peat overwhelming at all. I would classify these 2 first glasses as lightly peated. There is a little bit of a bitter note that comes through. Bitter and tangy. This is very interesting. Let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Yeah, on the palate, it's a little bit bitter, a little bit tangy. It's making me salivate quite a bit. Maybe that's that bitter aspect of it. It's drying on the finish, kind of sucking the moisture out of my tongue. And I'd say that peat note that comes through is leaning a little bit more towards the smoked meat and campfire. I think that's where that savory note is coming from. Well, that's an interesting one. Let's get a little rinse here and move on to glass number 3. Glass number 3 is coming across as tobacco, chocolate, and malt. A little bit of dark fruits, raisins, dates, figs, plums, which leads me to think that this is a little bit more on the sherried side. Other than that, not much is happening. So let's go ahead and get this thing on the palate. Yeah, definitely raisins, dates, figs, and plums. Doesn't really necessarily develop beyond that. Get a good amount of bitterness or that barrel tannin on the side of the tongue. It's not going over the top. It lets you know that it's there. The peat notes that I'm getting are ashy campfire smoke, wet log, and maybe on the back end, a little bit of smoked meat. Let's go ahead and get a rinse. And as this is sitting, doesn't seem to be developing anything. It's pretty consistent. And that consistency is raisins, dates, figs, and plums. All right, glass number 4. Smells a lot like glass number 3. Good malt, good tobacco, good chocolate, a little bit of a vanilla note, not much campfire or wet log. This is more towards the savory. Must be hitting me right because my mouth is watering. Let's go ahead and get this thing on the palate. Immediately I get that little effervescence, tingling feeling. Very sweet, very malty. There's like a bitter dark chocolate hits the back, and that's where that savory peat comes in. All right, glass number 5. Here we go. Cotton candy, vanilla, peaches, pineapple. Yeah, this smells light and crisp and refreshing. Boy, I like these two the most so far, on the nose at least, the glass 4 and glass 5. This smells amazing. Let's go ahead and get this thing on the palate. Whoa, that is surprising. That is fruity, that is crisp, that is light. Still get that effervescence on the tongue, good amounts of vanilla, and all of those light fruit notes just grow and grow. And then it finishes off on that ashy log, wet log, campfire smoke. Not a whole lot of savoriness and not Band-Aid and iodine. Well, that is not surprisingly good because all Kilchomans that I've had have always been really good. All right, so that is my initial taste this direction. I'm gonna speed this part up, go back the other direction, and if I feel like I need to, I'll A/B test some of these, and then when I come back, I'll have an order for you. Be right back. It's interesting. These outside two tasted very, very similar, and then these two tasted similar, but different than these two. There was an outlier, which was this, and this ended up being in my 5th place. I don't think this quite had the development of flavors that the others had. There was a little bit of a bitter, a little bit of a tang, a little bit of a citrus note that didn't quite blend together. Don't get me wrong, it was good. But I have to nitpick here because I'm trying to figure out an order. Based on what I'm tasting here compared to the other 4, this didn't quite come together as nice as the others. So in 5th place, I was drinking the US small batch. So that's gonna be in 5th place. In 4th place, I'm gonna put glass number 4. I said that this was initially the most developed, but it's turned out that it kind of fell flat a little bit the second time around, or at least this way. And then comparing this to this, I thought it fell a little bit short, which I always find very interesting, how you can go this direction and get a different note than you did going back the other direction. Still very good, but I think the raisins, dates, figs, and plums that I was getting in the 2 of these, this just fell a little bit short. So that ended up being in my 4th place, which was the Sanaig. So the Sanaig, let me refer back to my notes here really quick. The Sanaig was bourbon and sherry in the high proportion. Okay, so that's the high proportion of sherry coming in at 46%. Good, just not as good as number 3. And number 3 ended up being pretty robust, and the intensity of the raisins, dates, figs, and plums that were in here lingered a little bit more than this. So I put that in 3rd place, which ended up being my Oh no, the Loch, okay, so not, oh no, but this is kind of surprising. I thought this would finish a little higher. This is the Loch Gorm 2022 release. This is the one that is, I think, 100% matured in sherry, which makes sense because the raisin dates, figs, and plums just exploded in this, but it didn't develop very far past that. But the flavors that I got were better than this, so this has ended up in third. In second place was glass number 5. This one seemed to stay the most consistent, this direction and this direction. And after I A-B'd and compared glass 1 and glass 5, this still ended up being consistent. It was fruity, it was light, it was crisp. I like the peat note that was in here. The pineapple and the malt, everything was nice, but it drank slightly hotter than glass number 1. So in glass number 5, I was drinking the 2022 100% Islay, which, let me take a look at my notes, 50% ABV. So maybe that contributed to the heat with that ABV, especially being as light and fruity and crisp as it is. Maybe that ABV just kind of held it down a little bit and caused it to heat up in my mouth. But again, just like everything else, I'm nitpicking here because it is still very good compared to all the others. They were all good, but I got to pick a winner. And today, that winner is glass number 1. Glass number 1 was also pretty consistent. Good vanilla, good peach, good pineapple. The peat note, as I went back the other direction, was leaning more towards the savory and less of the campfire. And if you've been on this channel for quite a while, you know that I tend to like the savory meat, burnt meat, rather than the Band-Aid and iodine. I don't really pick up Band-Aid and iodine in any of these, but the peat note in this one I like the most. And I was drinking the Machir Bay. I'm thinking I'm pronouncing that correct. If I'm not, let me know in the comments down, like phonetically how to pronounce it, but I think it is Machir Bay. And that one is bourbon and sherry, a high proportion of bourbon. So that kind of gives me an idea of that light, crisp. Also that vanilla note is sticking out quite a bit. So maybe this is a trend. I'm starting to favor the bourbons over the sherry, and maybe this is just a tipping point where I'm starting to move that direction. Whatever the case may be, these are all good. Let me know in the comments down below if you have had these before, if you've had any Kilchomans, which ones do you like the most? Do you have high hopes for Kilchoman like I do? It seems like they're on the right track for a relatively new distillery. I like the things that they're producing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to release in the future. Now, the only thing left to do is give these things a blend and then call this video good. All right, so here we go. Got a little of the Machir Bay. Glass number 2 was the U.S. small batch release. Whoop, had a little bit too much there. Let me get this back in there. Even that out. Glass number 3. 1.5 for glass number 3. The Loch Gorm, just the sherry. Glass number 4, terrible memory, the Sanaig. And then glass number 5 ended up being the 100% Islay barley. All right, get this thing swirled around. Let's see how this blend does. Just like always, this one's for you, Tony. Wow. Tremendous amounts of vanilla, a tremendous amount of malt. I get a pepper and ginger. Way behind everything is the red fruits, the raisins, dates, figs, and plums, but it's way back behind there. The peat note that I'm getting is definitely hitting the smoked meat savory side of things. It smells fantastic, and it smells different than any of these individually. Boy, I'm looking forward to this. And the ABV, stinging the nose a little bit. My mouth is watering in anticipation. Let's go ahead and get this thing on the palate. Wow, that is good. Chocolate, pineapple, peach, a little bit of tobacco. There's a cotton candy sweetness. The savory peat note is coming through. A little bit of tannin, a little bit of bitterness on the side of the tongue, not over the top, just right. Wow, I think this one might be the best blend to date. Let me get another sip here just to figure this out. Right before I sipped it, I'm getting a little bit of that sweet tobacco note. Yeah, peach, pineapple, chocolate, malt. This is enjoyable. I like this quite a bit. That effervescence is still going on. The finish with that savory peat note is just lingering around with that sweetness, with a little bit of a cotton candy sweetness. That malt sticking around, knowing that you're drinking a scotch. That's good. I would highly suggest, if you have these, blend them. Mess around with the ratios, but what I have in this glass right now is good. All right, well, I think that's all I have for you today. Like, subscribe, share, do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. And wherever you're at in your journey, I hope you're enjoying it, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.